Hello, future actors and stars. So, continuing on with my acting series, this video is going to be about the difference between an agent and a manager and why that difference is so important, and also how to avoid getting scammed. This is probably one of the most common questions that I get. Essentially, what does an agent or a manager do? How does that affect my acting career? Why is it so important? Or what is the importance of one? And what's in it for them? So let's keep it simple. So an agent is going to be the person that helps you get the job. A manager is someone that helps prepare you for that job. So think of an agent as more of a salesperson. They're going to be the one who's helping to negotiate your contract. They're going to be pushing you out to casting directors. They're going to try to help you get seen. They're also going to make sure that the paperwork is legit. And aside from that, they're also going to make sure that everything is squared away. Typically, when you have an acting agent, they take about 20% for their services. They're just there to help you get booked. Now, a manager is going to be a little different. They're more so there to help you prepare. They may give a little bit more insight on what headshot looks best, maybe pick through some of the scenes you have for your demo reel. They're really, think of like a career coach. There's someone that's really trying to help guide you as far as they have the knowledge, they know what performs well pertaining to acting, pertaining to what casting directors are looking for. Sometimes they can also submit you for roles as well. They're going to be primarily focused on helping to shape you in terms of acting. Managers can work in tandem with agents. It's really a matter of helping guide you in what would be best for your career. They also tend to take a percentage for their work as well. But that really doesn't happen until you actually book. Now, I will say the number one big thing that people have questions about is like, hey, this person is interested in representing me. Is this a scam? First things first, when it comes to any manager or agent, you should never, and I mean never, be paying anything upfront. These people are supposed to be a part of your team. And if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. That's as simple as it is. There should be no additional courses that you have to pay through exclusively for them. You should not be getting headshots exclusively from their photographers. There should really be nothing in it for them in terms of getting you signed until you book a role, until you're on set, until you get a commercial, something, anything. If you see any agent, any manager that is offering to sign you, say you'd be a great model, great actor, all these things, hyping you up only for them to turn around and be like, oh, but you have to buy this package for $1,500 and that is a scam. That, I don't even know what the hell to call that and why that even became a thing. It's so parasitic. It's people just basically looking to poach others for their hopes and dreams and aspirations. Those type of people you run away from very, very quickly. I'll even say that for anything pertaining to casting. You should not be paying anyone to submit you. Unless it's like in my previous video, unless it's a subscription-based platform, you should not be paying for it. And sometimes even with some of those platforms, like I know one that used to be free, and all they did was essentially reshare castings that were already out in the open, but they just charge a fee for people to be able to see them, which to me never made any sense because it's like, this is already out there for free. You're just trying to poach people. That happened shortly after the pandemic. Now, I will say it is not wrong if a manager or agent kind of points you in the direction of a headshot photographer or any of these workshops and classes to help beef up your resume. That is perfectly okay. I know sometimes they'll suggest every so often on their platforms or emails, they'll go like, oh, such and such headshot photographer is in town. They're really good. We love their work. If you want, please go ahead and see them for a session. That is completely fine. Both can submit you for roles, but it's going to be a little different pertaining to how the relationship operates. It could be different for everyone, but really they're meant to help cultivate you and be a little bit more personable pertaining to whoever they have on their roster. I have a manager that will just ask if I want to be submitted to certain things. They'll let me know ahead of time. They can submit you for roles, but typically they don't do too much in terms of negotiation. That's going to be more so the agent's specialty. Now, a common question I also get is like, hey, do I need both a manager and an agent? No, you do not need both, but it doesn't hurt to expand your team a little bit. I know some people have agents in different areas, which I think would be beneficial if you have an agent in different markets, essentially. So that could be Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York, overseas, what have you. And if anything, that's beneficial, but they all, to an extent, should kind of know of one another so you don't get double submitted for something. Kind of thing to be mindful of: the more people you have on your team, the more people you have to pay out once you book something. That is something that a lot of people don't recognize when they, oh, I have an agent, oh, I have this manager, I have this. Is like, okay, well, that's all the more people that get a slice of the pie when you get booked for something. So if you're just starting out, I don't really think it's necessary to have the biggest team. But once you start developing yourself more, it makes sense to have those contacts that are easily reachable. Where can I find managers and agents that I know are reputable? First things first, you're going to want to check out the SAG-AFTRA website. Pretty much have everyone that is SAG-AFTRA franchised, meaning they have been checked, approved, they're legitimate. Not to say that others that are not on that list are not legitimate, but I would say to keep things safe, especially starting out, it's best to kind of go with what's official. You can look up kind of what are the top agencies for, if you're looking for an agent, you can look up the top agencies for your area. Not necessarily you're going to get in with the top of the top, but you have to do your own homework and you have to kind of generate your own list. I know off the top of my head for Atlanta, there's J. Purvis, People Store. I'm trying to think of some of the East Coast Talent Agency. There's a couple of others, but you get my drift. There's going to be definitely a couple per market. At least in the US, obviously there can be different smaller agencies. It doesn't mean it's necessarily better or worse to be with the bigger or smaller agencies. It's really all a matter of, if you're being represented properly, do you have the best items that you can have for your acting package, and do you stay in communication, semi-regular communication, because obviously they may have pretty big rosters. Sometimes you have something called boutique agencies where they have a whole bunch of people in their roster. You may not have quite as much communication with them, but hey, at least you have someone submitting for you, So there's different ways you can kind of go throughout the industry or kind of get a little bit more professional footing. Now, I would say don't just sit there and jump back and forth between all these different agents, because that kind of looks a little bad. Definitely try to stay with one, and communicate if you have any grievances. Typically, you want to stay with one for at least a little while over a year. If you have any questions or concerns about an agent or manager, you can always just look up stuff about them. I mean, get into it. Start doing your research. Get on IMDb. That's another really good website that you can look at to kind of get more information. You can especially kind of reverse engineer it. If you could find people on their website, on their roster, and find some of those actors on social media, granted, they're willing to help you and just say like, hey, how long have you been signed with so-and-so, and do you like it? Something as simple as that can get you a lot more realistic information than just what you can find online. Now, I'm not saying go start hounding and harassing people who are signed with these agents and managers, but again, it'll give you a little bit of a better idea of, who might be a good fit for you and also what to expect. Some people think once they sign with an agent or a manager that they're immediately just going to go into the stratosphere, and that's not always the case, and that's not always the agent or manager's fault as well. Sometimes it's just a matter of the industry, the nature of things. It's just a lot. There's a lot of pieces that go into it. So don't take it personal, but it is something that makes you feel a little bit better about yourself when you do have someone representing you and kind of submitting on your behalf. But anyway, guys, that's it for my video. This is going to be a quick one, but stay along for my next video to get even more information. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.